Hi, John. How are you?
I'm doing all right, thank you. How are you?
Good. I'm doing good. So, John, tell us about you.
Goodness, that's a jolly expansive question, isn't it? So if we go for the high level stuff, so John Hinchliffe, head of talent at Jampan here in the UK. I look after around 1,000 freelancers in the digital learning sphere, connecting them with amazing clients. Along the way, I've won a few awards. I've been on the board of directors for the e-learning network. I have worked here in the UK. I've worked over in the UAE. I've worked in Japan. I also founded a community called the Global Learning Development Community during COVID. So that has brought together over 1,000 people so far, and that's coming up to celebrating its first birthday. I'm also just about to put on a conference with the lovely folks at L&D Cares. So L&D Cares collaborating with GLDC to put on a conference for first-time speakers, which is completely free and also has no sponsors and is taking place over a weekend as well. So trying to break the mold. Apart from that, I've been in L&D for about 12 years now. Started in the very bottom ranks as an instructional designer and worked very, very hard to kind of get where I am today.
Yeah, and it's been about a year since we talked, and well, not since we talked, but since we did our last podcast together.
Yep.
And about a year ago, you were telling me you had two big dreams, and one of them was you wanted to create more community because you're really
Yep.
inspired because where you were at in the UAE, it just didn't really exist, not in the way you wanted it to.
Yeah.
And then you also wanted to put on a free conference on a yacht in Dubai.
Yeah.
And I know that this conference that you're doing is not on a yacht in Dubai, but it is a free conference, right? So,
Exactly. I'm almost
yeah,
there. You know,
yeah,
I've kind of made good on my promise. It's virtual. It's on a virtual yacht.
yes,
But
yes.
yeah,
That's
that was the
perfect.
thing. It's amazing when I think about it. Bringing communities together because obviously out in the UAE, it was not a thing that really existed when I moved
Hmm.
over there, and I just thought I've got the chops to actually make this happen. So
Yeah.
did that, expanded that, took that virtual, and yeah, the conference. It's not on a yacht, but it's still gonna be pretty awesome.
Yeah. So COVID didn't trip you up for your dreams. It almost accelerated them. Like it almost made it a little bit more accessible because you had to be virtual.
Well, exactly, and I think it brought people's expectations of each other down.
Mm,
It was kind of we're now more accepting of if your dog starts barking during a meeting or if your
yes.
children walk in, we're so much more, I'd say, in the norm, laissez faire, of how we actually live. This is life,
This is life.
you know.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the best things, and that's been one of the great things about, building a community and putting on a conference. It's kind of made things a bit less risky.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the
Yeah.
big thing.
So, so tell us about your first encounter with imposter syndrome. Do you have like a moment when you first realized that that's what was happening, that you had imposter syndrome?
So the biggest one where I was shaking, it was the first time I went up for an award. So I was presenting to three people who were in the industry experts, and you know what? I was petrified.
Mm,
Even though I was up for, at that time, two awards I was up for, I've been nominated and been shortlisted, I was absolutely petrified because I thought, who am I? I'm not good enough to do this. These people are so very high. They've been doing it for so many years. How dare I think that I'm good enough to talk to these people?
hmm.
And you know what? I absolutely fluffed that interview for the awards. Absolutely. My tech broke. My answers were short. They were terrible. And you know what? I just felt rubbish afterwards
Oh,
because I was literally that also kind of put in the thought of, yeah, you know what, you didn't belong there. You really weren't good enough. And so feeling like a real imposter,
hmm.
and it just, yeah, absolutely ruined my chances.
So, what were some of the emotions that you felt, and did you have any physical reactions when this was happening?
Yeah, so I mean, there was shaking, also feeling that like drop in your chest,
Mm,
that shortness of breath,
mm-hmm.
and uh, just feeling like this cloud, like tunnel vision.
Mm,
Like you
mm-hmm.
can't really concentrate, and you're trying to search for the words, and it just they just can't be found.
Yeah,
And also, you can't remember everything that you've done. It's literally like you could only remember maybe two instances of your whole working career.
right.
So, yeah, it was diabolical.
Diabolical. I like that. Is that the only time that you've experienced imposter syndrome? Is this something that you still struggle with?
You know what? So I a few years ago went into freelancing. So
Hmm.
I had built up a good career. I was really confident in what I did, and I thought, you know what? If I never go into freelancing, I'll probably regret it. So I thought, right, I've got the chops. I'm going to do this. And it was my first day on a contract. And literally, I sat down, and they were lovely. They were fantastic. But I sat down at the desk, opened up my laptop, and I thought to myself, what am I doing? What am
Hmm.
I doing here? Like, do I know how to do a training needs analysis? Do I know how to talk to stakeholders? And literally just everything compounded within me where I was thinking, do I actually know what I'm doing? Even though I've been doing this for X amount of years, I've had recognition for it, I've had excellent feedback on my other projects. It is that thing of, am I really good enough to do this on my own? And thankfully we worked through that. I delivered some amazing projects, really worked really hard with them, and really helped them a lot. But yeah, that first day of freelancing, oh my word, I was worried.
Yeah, yeah. Like, "Ooh, are they going to find out that this was a bad idea?"
Yeah.
When would you say was your most recent sort of episode of imposter syndrome? Most recent.
You know what? It's actually not work related, but it's life related.
Sure.
Buying a house.
Mm,
So buying a house, I'm about to purchase one of the most expensive houses I ever have. Um, and it absolutely frightens the life out of me because I mean, I've worked incredibly hard, so has my wife, in order to be able to purchase this house. And there's a part of me that feels like I'm an imposter being able to purchase that house
mm,
because obviously I came from a background where we had no money,
mm-hmm.
and money's always been a anxiety for me. And so now having talks with solicitors and banks about I want to borrow this amount of money, honestly, I don't feel like it's me who's actually purchasing this. It just doesn't feel right to me. And I do feel like an imposter.
Even though you've worked for it.
Even though I've worked for it, even though the funds are in the bank, even though the numbers make sense, I still feel like it's not right
It's
and
not
it
right.
shouldn't be happening to me.
Hmm. Hmm. So, how do you cope when you have moments like this? Like, do you have techniques that you put into practice, or what do you do to make it better?
So for me, it's really looking at the positives of my past. So a lot of people focus on the negatives. And one thing I read a bit ago was if you were making tonight's dinner, would you go through the trash of yesterday to make that dinner?
Oh, I like that.
Yeah. And I was like, that actually makes a lot of sense. So rather than focusing on, bad stuff, what people have said, people's opinions, I focus on the good stuff. How have I increased my skill set? Where have I delivered? Where have I over delivered? Also, where have I helped people? And what's that feedback that's come from them? Just as recognition, not a boast or an ego, but just a recognition of, do you know your stuff? Can you deliver? Absolutely. Great. Let's go do this.
Yeah. Yep. I like that. What would you share with someone who is experiencing imposter syndrome like right now?
I'd say if they can find their tribe, find it. So find people who are like you. And the wonderful thing is, You can find these people on LinkedIn, on Facebook groups, those kinds of things, whereby you can talk to people who are in very similar positions to you, just to understand, how are people moving forward? Where are your skills? Where are your strengths?
Mhm.
Get others to help you understand, because we're really good at telling ourselves that we're not good enough. And
Mhm.
social media is really good at that too, because
Mhm.
let's go through it. You're not pretty enough. Go buy this. You're not healthy enough. Go buy this. You're not smart enough. Go do this course. There's a lot of money to be made from telling you you're not good enough. Find a tribe that can help you find out how good you are for really who you are. And that's a massive thing. So I think start talking to people. That was the whole point of GLDC. Creating that so that people could come into an environment. There is no sales. It is all love. And it's amazing how many people are so open and so honest with each other,
Mhm.
and just helping people realize how good they are. Because I think that's a really big one is, if you're feeling like you're an imposter, help others help you find that you're not.
Yeah. All right, I have just one more question for you, John.
Sure.
Why did you want to be part of this imposter syndrome project? Like what made you say, yes, pick me?
Because I'm in a position at the moment where people think that, and this is in no way my word, like I'm infallible. Like
Mm.
I have such a profile on LinkedIn, and people think that I am all sunshine and roses, and that I have had it so easy, and that I've got it all. Trust me, I don't. And I want people to see that kind of Instagram versus reality. I want people to see the reality, and I want people to know that mine's been a hell of a struggle. It's not just 12 years of work that has been super difficult. I've worked in so many countries. I've, done difficult jobs, but also as a kid, because there's going to be a lot of people that have had very difficult childhoods
Mhm.
whereby, they've been really just pretty much written off, you know,
Mhm.
either as a kid or as an adult, through relationships, through work, you've been written off. I wanted to do this because I want to tell people that they're good enough and they're going to do great things. Believe in themselves, take on board, what other people have done. Realize that if somebody looks like you, has done the work that you've done, and they become a success, then so can you. And so for me, that's the biggest thing is, if this could help somebody realize that they are fantastic and that they just need to realize what they're really doing and find their tribe, then I'll do this 1,000 times.
Well, we're so glad you did. And thank you so much for being vulnerable and sharing your story. Thank you, John.
Absolute pleasure. Thank you very much.
If you like this series and you want to show support, go to buymeacoffee.com/ifyouaskbetty to learn more about how you can support this and future If You Ask Betty projects.